looking for you. Scooby Doo, where are you? All the stars are here, waiting for you. Couldn't have a show without you. Scooby, Scooby Doo, Scooby, Scooby Doo.
Next up, we got Scooby Doo and the Ghoul School. Oh boy, where do I even begin with this plot? Okay, so try to work with me on this. Are you ready? Okay.
Where are you? We got some work to do now.
Miss Grimwood, a witch who teaches 5 daughters of world-famous monsters such as Dracula, the werewolf, Frankenstein's monster, a phantom, and a mummy. No, seriously. Hires Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy as gym teachers. Why? Because they need to learn how to play volleyball so they can beat the boys of Callaway Military Academy, the rival school next door led by Colonel Callaway over here, who looks like Waluigi, as they have won every annual game before then. They win, but are then tricked into leading the girls to a biome where they are captured by another witch named Revolta and her assistant, the Creeper. No, I mean the one that looks like Mike Wazowski. There we go. They want to brainwash these girls born from famous monsters so that they can become famous monsters themselves. Now, Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy, with the help of the students from Callaway later on, have to save them from Revolta's castle before the girls' dads come in to scare them for all eternity. Sound like it was written on Mad Libs? Because whoever wrote this was definitely drunk and playing Mad Libs at the time.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now.
So, if you thought the last movie was strange, you won't even know what to think of this. Being strange doesn't inherently make something bad, and there is really no trip like Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School. They never explain where Miss Grimwood and Colonel Callaway's sexist rivalry came from, nor do they ever reference the events of Boo Brothers, making me believe that all 3 of these movies take place in alternate timelines. To be fair, that would explain why Shaggy has a different vehicle in each one, but despite the fact that this series is about unmasking monsters to prove that they're not real, the Ghoul Girls and Military Boys are pretty fun characters. There's an adorable little comic relief dragon named Matches, who's always cute to watch. And most of all, this movie allows the existence of the legendary demon, feared by many, known as the Anti-Shaggy, to be present towards the end. Honestly, that alone just adds some extra creativity points.
Come on, Scooby-Doo, I see you. Pretending you got silver.
Unlike in Boo Brothers, there are multiple settings in Ghoul School, all of which add to the weird, unsettling, but still comedic world it takes place in perfectly. As I explained in my last review, Boo Brothers makes the unfortunate mistake of having most of the movie be made up by slapstick humor contrasting the needlessly dark scenarios around and or inside the Beauregard mansion. But here, they take full advantage of Scooby, Shaggy, and Scrappy having to come out of their comfort zone and into a humorously creepy and imaginative world that they're uncertain of. The fact that we get a good, clear idea of what the movie's atmosphere looks like actually helps the overall presentation. Now let's talk about the animation for a second. Normally I would be kind of upset about the lack of improving they had in between this movie and the last, but to be fair, these were TV specials, which is why randomly it'll just cut between scene to scene in a really awkward fade-out effect. That's something I forgot to mention, but it's something all of the Scooby-Doo Red Shaggy movies do. Anyway, yeah. Now let's talk about the music.
You're not here with me, 'cause I can see the way you shake and shimmer.
It's here you start to realize that half of the soundtrack is just reused from Boo Brothers to avoid having to orchestrate more background music. While it's not too bad here because they do a good balance of old and new background checks to play along with each scene, it can get pretty irritating to hear the same things all the time. And yes, most of the lesson learned, Hanna-Barbera is lazy about music. That's it. But at least the music fits with the comedic nature of the movie, like it did before, so it's fine.
You know we got a mystery to solve, so Scooby Doo, be ready for your act. Don't hold back.
Of course, I'm going to acknowledge the obvious fact that Scooby-Doo is all about disproving the existence of ghosts and other supernatural beings. With that in mind, trying to accept that these monsters' very presence is just a completely normal thing in this universe can be reasonably difficult. But if you're able to look past this massive contradiction, Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School is actually a lot more fun of a movie than Boo Brothers, in that the weird one-off characters actually contribute to the progression. Surprise, surprise, they actually cause the rest of the plot to happen. They actually do things that are relevant. Take notes, Boo Brothers. And it contributes to the lighter, more unique settings, allowing for a far more creative presentation. While I recommend both personally for curiosity and nostalgic purposes, Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School gets an unapologetic 8 out of 10 for being more entertaining than Boo Brothers. However, I cannot say the same about
We